My study involves a study of small groups' decision-making process while comparing closed to open group structures. An inside look at Janus's theory of groupthink, targeting one of the antecedents of the groupthink theory. Background. Irving Janus's theory of groupthink was developed based on his observation that highly reliable groups have the tendency to make poor decisions, including instances such as Bay of Pigs, the Pearl Harbor, and the Titanic as well. Important to study this because poor decisions have been made by highly reliable groups, such as in these circumstances, and Janus's theory says that by studying closed and open group structures, you can eliminate or greatly decrease the chance of disasters happening. So, key terms that will be helpful to know is closed versus open group structure. A closed group structure is basically any group that cannot have any sort of help from an outside source, such as the CIA, the FBI, the armed forces. They cannot collaborate with members outside of the group, at least very often, so they would be considered a closed group. Open groups would be anything, just about anything else, any kind of group that does collaborate with people outside the organization. So they're able to get more feedback through that as well. And the groupthink theory, once again, is a theory developed by Irving Janus that describes why highly reliable groups that are supposed to be making great decisions, that have, very credible people, sometimes do not make good decisions. So, the hypothesis and research questions. The hypothesis is that if a group has a closed group structure, they are more likely to suffer from the groupthink theory. And the research question, are there consistencies between the groups that are open and closed group and poor and positive decision making? Research methods. Surveys. Surveys will be conducted to get the group's feedback on where they think they stand. We'll be using a Likert scale and open-ended questions at the end to give the participants opportunities to make recommendations through the open-ended questions, and using a Likert scale so that we can find consistencies in answers and numbers using a numerical way to categorize them. A chi-square will be used to test the data because you're doing two different variables and you're testing them for the same thing. So we will test that with a chi-square. Specific questions that will be asked. Part 1, using a Likert scale. The scale is going to be as follows: 1, ineffective; 2, poor; 3, decent; 4, well; and 5, effective. So we will use this numerical way to once again find consistency amongst the members in how they answer. So question 1, how well did the group function as a whole? Question 2, were the participants all contributing to the final product? Question 3, how much outside help did the group use or receive from non-members? And this, with the numerical order, we will actually be able to categorize their answers. The open-ended questions serve a different purpose. The open-ended questions is to give the participants an opportunity to answer in their own words. So rather than, leading them on through the question, we ask them for an answer that they can completely answer on their own. And the benefit to this will be, this will give them an opportunity this will show us if there's people that are answering the same way without any predisposed answer. That will show us very consistent data that we can use. So some sample questions. Question 1, how could the group have been more effective? Question 2, what suggestions would you make that would encourage more group interaction? And question 3, do you believe that it was to your group's benefit to be open or closed in structure? So, in conclusion, this experiment is designed to separate two groups solely by the difference of being open or closed in structure. This will test to see if Janus's theory is actually accurate concerning the antecedent mentioned about open and closed group structures and their ability or inability to make good decisions. So, a prediction would be The open group structure will most likely respond with answers conveying better decision making in the process. However, the closed group structure will most likely be more efficient as they will have less distractions to deal with.